I don't know if I can bail you out, but I'll try my best. Ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else, welcome to the caster desk. I am Quickshot, joined by Broxah once more. I had a blast yesterday, and I can't wait to cast more games with you.
Same thing, it was an amazing experience casting for the first time with this man by my side. And now, yesterday, you gave me a little test, a little challenge perhaps, because you wanted me to hype up the crowd. But I have a feeling that with you by my side, with you doing the job, I will be able to learn a little quicker. Before we get into it, I would like to ask the crowd to please do a drum roll for me. All right, Trevor, I hope you're ready. 3, 2, 1.
Berlin! What is your region?
You know,
I got an extra EU. I got 4 EUs. That's how good I am. So
you say that,
thank
but
you.
I actually think you can hype them up a little better than that. I don't want to be too harsh on you, of course, but with your experience, with your status, I think we can do a little better. So I'm gonna do another countdown in just a moment. But again, crowd, please do me a favor and do another drum roll.
3, 2, 1, stop! Omega lol. I tried. I can't do your voice. I can't do your voice.
Okay,
we do have to jump into picks and bets.
That was great. 10 out of 10.
I was assured that this was a Broxah meme by some Broxah experts in our control room. Is it true? Are you the Omega lol god?
Yeah, maybe I'll show you how it's done later today.
Can you give me, because I think we're going to picks and bets. We might have some dramatic music. Can you give me an Omega lol and hopefully it'll go to music?
All right. Omega lol. Where's the music, Trevor?
I'm not sure. I thought it was coming.
Did you bait me? You baited me all along.
I did indeed. Okay, let's turn our attention to the game. If we get some music, we'll let that hype it up. But Misfits versus SK, we got to cast both of these teams yesterday. Misfits taking down Rogue, SK taking down Astralis. And I think we were both impressed and surprised by the games a little bit. We'll talk about that a little more. In terms of picks and bans, Kalista, Renata, Gwen, as well as Trundle.
I'm expecting a Yuumi ban. Yuumi, we saw it yesterday, banned in most of the games, very, very strong champion. But who knows? There's only one ban left, so the cat might be available for this one.
The cat is not yet put back in the bag. It is available. The analyst desk mentioned something that I've just double-checked as Yuumi is banned. Yes! Out of the over 160 games that Vetheo has played professionally, not a single Taliyah. We saw Taliyah first picked multiple times yesterday and is banned away on the blue side. What I do think is good for all of you Zanzara enthusiasts, he had I think an impressive showing on Poppy yesterday with his debut on Misfits on stage in Summer.
Yeah, I think it's one of those performances where if you look at the KDA, the scoreline, it didn't look that impressive, but he was doing so much work in the game with his map movements, the way he played team fights. So no, doubt about why they actually lock in that Poppy again for the second time. We see SK probably taking the Zeri, which makes sense with Kalista banned. That is the second priority. AD carry, there's a few different routes they could go here. One being picking top lane. Maybe they're going to want the prior support, but Renata is down. So I'm going to assume it's top lane, but it could go in a few different ways.
We've seen that Gnar being quite popular. Jezu has played one game on Zeri this year and this summer, and of course he went unkilled in that performance. Fantastic pop-off yesterday. Neon played particularly well, and it's going to be the Sylas lock-in instead. So didn't go support, didn't go top. Do you like this blind?
I am not entirely convinced about it. I think while it's like a strong pick for Sertuss, it's a pick that he's had a lot of success on. Picking it right here blind into Poppy, I'm a little bit skeptical, but again, sometimes when you are in a match like this one, that is a must-win for both teams to get into playoffs. Just going for the comfort, going for something that worked in the past can work so well. But downside is that it sets up a great Akali scenario for Vetheo, a big comfort pick of his.
20 professional games on Akali, 14 of them wins. A 70% win ratio at professional level is impressive, especially when you think about Misfits, and they've had a lot of seasons where they're sort of 50-50 in their win ratio, so he's very impactful on this pick.
I would say at this point, Akali is the champion that I like to see Vetheo on the most. Like he just handles this champion so well, and the way he's able to play team fights, to find picks and look for openings is absolutely beautiful. Now on the other side, of course, we see the Gnar being picked, and they banned Jax expecting another top ban to come in here to make sure that it's going to be a little bit tricky for Irrelevant to get a good scenario for himself in the top lane.
Now, of course, we didn't touch on that Sivir at the end of yesterday. Sivir being able to pick up 2 wins, seeing a little bit more play this week after changes a couple patches ago. And definitely, I think Ashin and Vetheo were talking about who was scrimming whom in terms of, I think it was Jezu and Vitality, if I remember correctly, playing it. But now let's turn attention to what these support picks are going to be balanced out with. Neither Mersa nor Treatz have anything secured yet. Jarvan, Jack's taken away. As far as the jungle pools, Zanzara's all got the Poppy. So Gilius, what is he doing? He ran the Hecarim yesterday.
Yeah, so yesterday Gilius surprised us. I think there was 6 jungle picks down. He ended up opting into the Hecarim. Could be doing the same today, it's hard to really say. I'm also really curious to see what the supports are going to do, because the 2 by far highest prior supports in the league currently are Renata and Yuumi, who are now gone. So could be an interesting jungle pick coming out, but even in the support role, we might get to see something more exciting than the typical Nautilus.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Lulu yesterday with the G2 comp, the meatball up front, run in, never die. I don't know if Misfits would want to run that with the Akali and the Poppy. SK will have the first option of either go blinding that top lane pick or locking in their support. Correction, it's a jungle instead. It's going to be the Vi, because Gnar was obviously locked in.
Yeah, definitely. Getting that Vi. Another pick we've started seeing a lot here in Europe. Mixed success yesterday, but overall, not the worst into the Akali in particular. I wouldn't want to play Vi into Sivir because it's fairly easy for her to handle that matchup, but into an assassin, Vi is always a great option. Now, of course, we're going to need to see Misfits coming with their responses to support as well as top lane. Looks like we get the Shyvana. Shyvana is a pick we've already seen a little bit in the league.
Do you like it? Because I don't think it was very successful a week or 2 ago.
Yeah, it didn't look that convincing in particular, and I feel like Shyvana is one of those champions that, you know, I can't ever figure out how to actually judge it, because it feels like it just exists in the game but rarely has the biggest of impacts. But I hope Irrelevant can actually, you know, whip out a big performance here.
And of course, to close the composition out, Mersa will be locking in Leona. I'm a little shocked. This is a dramatically different draw from yesterday in terms of the Sivir, the Akali, as well as the Shyvana, because yesterday we got the Zoe in there, as well as that Zeri. And now to close it out, Treatz is potentially going back to an old favorite. I think having some form of disengage, some peeling options will be good.
You know what I like about this?
Tell me.
Look at our comp. Look how many champions can all in.
Yes.
This is an all-in comp with the Zeri just sprinting around in the back line, shooting people down. I really like it. I think it makes a lot of sense picking the Alistar here with the rest of their composition. And all in all, when I look at these 2 drafts, it makes me happy because it's gonna be crazy. Yesterday's games, we had some drafts that looked relatively boring on paper, but there was craziness fights all over. Imagine the value you can get from this one.
I mean, both of these teams surprised us, because both of these teams had those early game crazy moves. And now I wonder if now we're going to get the slow games, because now we're anticipating all-ins everywhere.
No. They're not going to disappoint me here. I don't want any of them to let me down. I want the level 2 ganks, level 3 ganks, just early fights all over the place.
Well, let's see if either Zanzara or Gilius can make it work. I do want you to talk a little bit more about the Shyvana, because we have seen it twice before. This is the 3rd time in Summer. It has 1 win, and it has 1 loss. And I remember being quite hyped up, but I don't think I fully understand this pick yet. So I want to keep an eye on what Irrelevant can do, and whether or not one of these teams will be able to use a particular champion to get the 2-0. Both of them picking up wins, both of them one step closer towards playoffs. We're about to hit onto the Rift, get that dramatic music to bump, and I do like the close-up here on Zanzara. 2 games this weekend, replacing Shlatan. 2 games this weekend getting that premier pick in Poppy. And we're about to hit the Rift. Let's join Misfits and SK. Now as we load up onto the Rift, I'm going to do something I don't normally do, because I have Broxah here, and we've been talking a lot about player mentality and things that sit in broadcast and whatnot. Very rarely do players chat in all chats on a server, right?
Yeah.
And as I'm logged into the client, Neon had a little message that said, "You gave us Poppy? LOL?" What does that do? Not only for Neon, but also for SK in this case.
You know, it's funny. It's funny you say that, because I remember back in the day being in Europe, G2 was notoriously known for just all chatting, typing to you before games, and you know, it got to the point where at one point we just blocked every G2 player because we were like, nah, but this is too much. But I think it can be pretty funny if it's in like a subtle, sneaky way.
Yeah.
Of course, gotta be respectful and all, but yeah, I mean, to be fair, Sansara did have an impressive Poppy performance yesterday, and I was a bit surprised that they got it as well. And now, because he wrote that in chat, maybe he's already in Gilius' mind.
In their head. I mean, I like that.
Maybe Gilius is scared of the Poppy now. Maybe he's like, oh no, this was a mistake. I should have told my coach to ban it away.
Come on, Broxah. Gilius, scared? Those two words never, ever go back to back. He's an individual that has a huge amount of self-confidence and I actually think you can draw a lot of parallels between Gilius and Zanzara as public personalities, maybe some parallels in their gameplay as well, some ups and downs throughout the year. Now with this Vi and the Poppy, I'm looking at them starting at opposite sides of the map. Yesterday, Broxah, you had some great reads on expected like ganks. Do you think there's potential for some early shenanigans here, what you're seeing?
Yeah, so I actually expected both junglers to path towards the bot side, because I think it's really difficult to make anything happen top with this Shyvana Gnar matchup. Two champions that are both fairly slow. There's not going to be that much action, unless Genax, of course, can chunk the Shyvana down low and they look for gank. But I think here Gilius expected his mid and bot lane to get pushed in. He knows that if he paths bot side, he's most likely going to lose the Scuttle Crab, because the laners are going to have prio and he can't contest. So it seems like, you know, Sansara paths bot, just wants to get the full clear, get the crab for free. Gilius, same thing, and I'm not expecting that much action here early on, unless Irrelevant gets chunked down really low, which Genax is already working on, to be fair.
A lot of damage. That mini Gnar form took a lot more damage than I was expecting from that Bernard as well, and some minions. As a Sivir enjoyer, have been playing her for many, many, many years, Broxah, and as you know, I have tried my hand and Narcissus from time to time. The Boomerang Blade and Ricochets will give Neon the opportunity to push this wave. So I like the idea that potentially Zanzara was making his way down. Shadow could potentially like block from a Gilius gank, but he's obviously going the other direction, so I didn't need to worry about it.
It's so interesting to me because every time I see a Sivir in the game, there's one player that comes to my mind. Can you guess which one?
It starts with an R. Wreckful.
Close.
Something like that. He's a French superstar, EU Master Champion, right?
Yeah.
Reckless is the name I'm talking about.
That's
We're
right.
in Sweden. I mean, that was just Tristana, but still.
I have seen Reckless Sivir in action hundreds of times. Like, that is the Sivir you want to be. That is what I want to see from Nia in this game. The Penta-killing Sivir, the one that takes over in the mid and late game. And I think Sivir is just a pretty strong champion in the current meta. There's so many champions with engage. Sivir does pretty well around those with the spell shield, with her movement speed.
Yeah.
And overall, all the games in the LEC are usually going to like late game. I feel like that, you know, we have a lot of long games, and in those scenarios, even if you fall behind in early game, Sivir can buy so much time by just wave playing.
He really, really can. And not only that, when you look at the movement speed you talked about on the hunt, combine that with Shyvana that wants to do Dragon's Descent for Poppy that wants to run at you with Heroic Charge. Akali, like, it just synergies. I liked how G2 used it yesterday. I mean, Wonder and Genax are the two other players that have played. Genax actually has the win with Shyvana, so one of the few players that's pulled it out. When we take a look at the minimap, remember, both junglers start on opposite sides. So Zanzara, with the help of Mersa, with the help of Sivir pushing this wave, they invade, steal away the Gromp, and they back out cleanly.
Yeah, I really like this. This is basically Misfits using their bot prio, taking advantage of the fact that Gilius based so late that he didn't make it for his Gromp in time, and now, just like that, because Sansara looks for the invade before basing, he has a quick little advantage on Gilius, and it's worth noting that Gilius, look at his bot side, like everything is warded. They're gonna know exactly what he's gonna do. Misfits is already pinging his wolves, saying where he should be, but he's a little bit of a sneaky one here. He goes for the Drake right away, and that's really smart because he expects Sansara to do a clear here. Because Sansara started top side, second clear, he's expected to go top to bot, meaning easy chance for Vi to get the Drake, and that's one of the things I really like about Vi. Look how easy it is for him to take the dragon. He's only been on it for 20 seconds, it's almost down already. Very nice, beautiful play by Gilius.
Really nicely done. Broxah exceptionally well explained as well. I saw just before Gilius hopped over the wall that there was a couple of Misfits pings on him in the river, and I'd missed whether or not they saw him go into the jungle. But very smart pathing, so the advantage, despite losing a couple jungle camps, is a 5-minute dragon. And for SK, starting that one early is a great start. Heroic Charge won't find the stun. Steadfast Presence will at least prevent some engage before Sertuss turns a lot of damage around. he will be able to force Vetheo away, who got the early 6. He's 10 CS up, by the way. So a little bit of bullying going on in that mid lane. We haven't seen too much action. But other than that, it's even in every lane. Not the Bloodbath yet, but I think both teams want their ultimates, really.
Yeah, they're just farming for level 6, waiting for the Herald to spawn. I think around Herald is where we're going to see the most magic, the most aggression happen in the game. But now we're already getting some trades in the top lane.
Oh, the shapeshifters are battling. Irrelevance in trouble. Gen X Mega not slowly burning down. The burnout is, and so are the minions. Remember how many minions he had to fight into.
That was a lot of Shyvana damage too.
Oh, Gilius flashes for this one. Flame Breath, as well as the burnout. Turning, biting, get the chomps on. Gilius may have donated first blood to Zanzara. The Shyvana damage, Broxah.
You know, I like to try to find reasons as to why mistakes happen or excuse the players, but I gotta admit there was no excuse for that one. That was a bit of a rough one to watch, but...
Would you call it an oopsie?
That was more than an oopsie, Trevor. That was a... I don't even have words for that. Let's just move on.
Move on indeed, and that means Misfits pick up the kill. I do think, though, when you look at the Twin Bite damage, the burst from that Q, really, really doing work. I mean, we've only seen 3 Shyvanas on stage. I know it has been a pick that has been discussed or theorized a lot. Not too many pulling it out, and we get to watch it again.
So I think the beauty about Shyvana is that if you can actually get to hit you, and especially if Irrelevance lands the E there onto Gen X, he's actually going to have a lot of damage, but he misses that. He doesn't really have much of a way of trading back before the E comes up, and you see it there. The second he can, you know, get the E off, he starts dealing so much damage. And now, Gilius obviously looks for the play, fumbles the Q flash, doesn't go that well in particular, and... You know, now it's just a little bit awkward. He doesn't know what to do. Sansara, respectable choice as a jungler. He knows us junglers, we're the carries. He goes in, takes the kill away from his top laner, shows who's the boss. He has first blood, very well deserved by him, kill secured.
I mean, Zanzara earned it. He secured that kill indeed. The word that was in my mind was going to be steal, but I'll go with you. I follow you on this one. I think kill secured is a better option. I know the fans here in Berlin cheered. There was some Misfits chance just before the game went up. And they're the ones with an advantage, 1,000 gold up. They don't have the dragon. And for SK, under a little bit of pressure, despite the fact, by the way, Gen X has a significant CS advantage in the top lane. I think you'd expect that. I mean, Gnar is just so oppressive early game.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky for Shyvana in the early game, but I think once the game progresses, as long as she can get to hit, really, she's going to dish out so much damage and be so strong in the team fights. And that's also her biggest weakness, though. She's fairly easy to kite, especially if the ghost is down. But here, we see Misfits looking for a bit of action in the mid lane. Bot lane just comes by to push out because the Herald is up. They know that...
Two-man knock-up. Treatz is the one that's in trouble now. Neon remains untouched. Vetheo gets another for Misfits. The Herald is secured as well. Vetheo with a second kill. And Sertuss forced to flash for his life. I mean, SK opted into that and got obliterated.
Yeah, that actually caught me a little off guard right there. That happened so quickly. Really well executed by Misfits. Confident in their engage. I was just about to say that the Misfits bot lane moving up makes so much sense with Herald being up. And they were on their way there, but actually didn't even make it to help Sansara. And that was good on so many levels, because not only do they get the Herald, they got Vetheo rolling on their Akali. But we see it here on the way up. Treatz goes for the engage. Gilius and Sertuss obviously follows. The Sylas chain doesn't connect, and they are simply not strong enough to take this fight at this point in the game. That champion is too strong, there's too much damage. And it's also worth noting that that was the 2 carries and the support fighting against jungle, support, and mid.
Yeah. That's
never a fight you want, even in the early game, because Vi just doesn't deal damage.
No, it's not a fair fight to begin with. Also, by the way, almost instantaneously, as the bot lane has picked up 6s on the carries, the fight broke out, right, in mid lane. 3 kills to 0 for Misfits. The CS lead in the middle lane is ballooned. Vetheo is now up 20, and he has 2 kills. So Sertuss is not going to have a good time for the next few minutes.
So far, that Sylas blind pick is definitely not paying off. And while I can respect going for the comfort pick, look at that Shyvana damage, what a champion. While I can respect going for the comfort pick, it just sets up Vetheo so perfectly. But obviously we'll see how the rest of the game plays out. Now we need to keep our eye on Sansara, who's standing outside the dragon, gonna be starting it up. Could potentially be another fight. But there's top lane action again, Trevor.
Yeah, the Gnar pulls Irrelevant backwards. By the way, Irrelevant's doing that much damage with Lucy Boots, a Doran Shield, a Ruby Crystal, and a Cloth Armor, right? So the Dragon's Descent form, plus the burn on the Flame Breath, is melting through Gen X's mini Gnar.
It is a lot of damage, that's for sure. It's looking really strong. Now, of course, Sansara doing a good job as a jungler. Gilius did get the first dragon, but he just secured Herald as well as second dragon, and now he has 2 minutes on the Herald. We can expect Misfits to slowly start setting up a play here. They have had bot prior for the entire game, and they should use that prior one way or another to get a big Herald play off, because this is how they can explode their lead and get an even bigger advantage.
All right, I want to draw everybody's attention to the itemization on the bottom of your screen, because at 11 minutes, Turbo Chem Tank is already completed, and so is Riftmaker. So I'm going to ask you, Broxah, what is the communication like in SK when they hit tab, they look at the lead that has not only been accrued in the gold, but look at the items. Both of those players are going to find another kill to accelerate ahead.
You know, I was about to answer your question and say that their communication is, don't fight, guys, we need to play safe. But clearly that wasn't the case, because they went for the fight anyways. When you look at the mid lane items in particular, it's clear, you cannot fight. It's just impossible. You're going to lose. Vetheo is too strong. You need to wait until Sylas gets his first item, and then you can start looking. Of course, getting those free plays, beautiful. Some gold for Sansara, even more onto Vetheo. And this Akali slowly is getting out of control. She's 2k up on Sylas.
It's terrifying. 6 stacks on the Dark Seal. I want the Soul Stealer, and I want to see how high Vetheo can take it. I want to give a shout out to the crowd. I think for the past few weeks, Berlin viewers and fans here in the studio have started cheering the Rift Herald boops onto the tower, and I just want it to be a thing. I want to hear it at gigantic stadiums. I want to hear it in Malmö in Sweden. I think that's how you meant to say it. And I just want to make it a trend. So keep that up, team. Love it.
I have one question for you, Trevor. It's a relatively simple one. There's no right or wrong. But when you look at Vi's items right now, how do you feel?
Uncomfortable and sad.
Yeah, me too. I think if we've gotten to the point where you're playing Vi and you're rushing Chain Sword, that's a little bit sketchy, because the item obviously is great for the team, getting that healing reduction. It's a lot of value right now, but he just can't deal damage. He can't really do anything, and even with that, it's not like he's tanky anyway. So Gilius, being the team player, trying to set up his team for success, I wonder if it's actually worth it, because there's not that much healing on the other side, despite Akali having the Riftmaker, but I guess we'll see how it plays out.
What's your take on the fact that the Chem Sword has 25 ability haste? For the cost of the item, that's a fair amount at this stage of the game. In my head, the only way I can theory craft it, get those ultimates out, try to pick off everything that's not Sivir a couple times and maybe bring it back?
Yeah, I think it you know, the idea of it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a strong item, it's a lot of value, it gives you healing reduction, it gives you ability haste. I just need to get used to seeing it as a single item in the inventory, because it looks a little awkward. But there, unfortunate by Gilius getting caught out in the enemy jungle, losing his flash. Obviously not the biggest deal, because he did get to take a camp or two away from the enemy jungler. Caught up a little bit to Sansara CS-wise. Now, we see that Herald is coming up in less than a minute, Dragon in 2 minutes as well. And now, this is where SK needs to decide how willing they are to gamble, because they are not favored in a fight by any means. They're still most likely going to be losing. But at the same time, if they play really well and if they get control, maybe it could be a chance for them to come back.
It's going to be, they really need a lot of control, because I think the other thought I'm having now as we look, the 3rd Mythic is completed, as Neon's got himself the Kraken Slayer, which I think is great into Alistar, into Vi, into Gnar. The only Mythic on the side of SK is in the bottom lane for Jezu. Now Sertuss forced to flash defensively. Mersa this time around is caught out. Will be able to flash to the Blast Cone and escape with his life. 3,000 gold is the advantage. Turret plates have fallen. Misfits are continuing the pressure. The point I wanted to get at was, if you look at the damage profile for SK, they really need Sertuss and Jezu to do well. That's really sort of your primary damage sources. You need Gnar and Vi to set them up, and Sertuss is low. He's pinned against the wall. His presence does not hold steadfast, but the verdict is die, die, die! 2 more for Vetheo, 1 more for Zanzara. 7-0 at 15, Broxah.
At this point, I'm just standing here thinking what it's like being a player in this scenario. You're in this game that has such huge implications on whether or not you're going to make it to playoffs. You see 15 minutes in the game, it's 7-0. The enemy Akali is an absolute god. It's a mental challenge for SK to come back, let alone, you know, finding the opportunities and actually, you know, looking for the plays. But mentally, they're going to be a little bit in their own heads right now, and they're going to need someone to do a great speech and to find out how to even, you know, approach this game.
I think as well, they're going to need Misfits to get a little antsy, a little hyphy. I think that's a word that you kids use these days. And if one
Did you just call me a kid?
I did indeed. To me, most of this audience is a child.
Oh, wow.
And I think if they full send too often, that's where SK can look to punish. But again, the point I want to go back to, this draft has a lot of challenges to overcome, right? Poppy was available to first pick and it was secured. Blind Sylas was answered with Akali. The Vi answer is not working out. And I think, if I recall correctly, it was Sivir into Zeri as well. So like Misfits, I think, had options. And so far, their options are working very well.
I feel like it's one of those cases where it's so clear to see what Misfits had talked about draft-wise going into the game, and I feel like they got everything they wanted. They got the Poppy prior pick that looks so good for Sansara yesterday. Vetheo gets one of his favorite champions, possibly even his best champion. They get Sivir into Zeri. They probably expected Jenax to take the Gnar.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just imagining them sitting in their prep room this morning, picturing this exact scenario, having so good answers in every single case, and SK, they should have done their homework.
Yeah, they should have. I mean, I do have to just quickly, you know, ask about one particular thing, because when I take a look at this mid lane, if you look at the items, that's thrift store shopping versus 2 fully completed items. And once again, a member of Vetheo, of Misfits, is under some pressure. 3 members of SK jumping forward, Broxah. They're going to find it relevant as well. Now, all of a sudden, here comes Neon and Zanzai. I mean, SK threw a lot at Vetheo, didn't manage to lock him down long enough, and didn't have the damage to close it out.
Yeah, they just have no damage right now. That's really all there is to it. And you know, while the Sylas is a comfort pick and all, it's worth noting that picking it on 1-2 means that you are really comfortable on that champion. And sure, Sertuss has had some good games, but he's only 1 and 2 on it so far, the split, and oh, it's looking scary, Trevor. I just look at the mid lane items and I almost get stressed out. Like, you know, I can almost predict a Vetheo pentakill at this point. We'll see how that goes, of course, but wow.
Almost predict. Okay, give me. I like to play this game with pretty much only Danish colors, actually. What percentage odds do you give Vetheo to get a pentakill this game? Right? What are the chances?
So I feel like if I don't put the percentages high enough, it's not really a cool prediction, right?
Okay.
That's kind of boring. So
okay.
I'm gonna say 90% chance Vetheo gets a penta.
90% for a penta.
I'm going in, you know. Go hard or go home.
Cast a curse of note. Not gonna lie.
I love how I say that when the guy almost dies right away.
That is literally the power of the shoutcaster, Mike. Jenax gets taken out despite almost finding the kill onto Vetheo, but he bought so much time using every piece of CC in his kit while that was going on. In the middle lane was pressure. Flash's blood is still a 6,000 gold lead. It's 8 kills to 0, and I really want to see Vetheo upgrade that Dark Seal. I want to see Magi's, because for this 90% prediction, he's going to need to burn through. There's a bunch of tanks, right? So Gnar, Vi, Alistar, Kraken Slayer, as well as Ricochet can help soften them up. So I need to see those kill steals from Vetheo to make sure it works, because the rest of the team will be helping him.
That kill steal, that's a little bit of a bad habit of yours. We call them kill secured in here. You need to watch and learn now. I'm here to change that. Kill secured all along, Trevor, but also worth mentioning in that fight how impressive it was that Jenax actually almost killed him.
Yes.
Because if you compare the items, the strengths of these champions, that would have been such a huge play, and it's such a shame for SK that it didn't work out, because that really would have brought this Gnar back into a position where maybe he could carry the game.
I mean, there's a 600 gold bounty on Veteo's head. I'm logged into the client so I can see that one going, and that would be a gigantic help, but there's still 7,000 gold down. A few minutes ago, Broxah, you talked a little bit about the stakes and what these teams are playing for, and I just want to remind everybody the standings, because yesterday, SK took down Stars. Today, Misfits took down Rogue, hence the reason Rogue not sitting in first any longer. But to get that additional step up with how close these standings are, I mean, it's crazy to think that Fnatic is just potentially Misfits, SK, like 4 of these teams are not making playoffs, and listen to that! Berlin, I love it. But that is exactly what these teams are playing for, and SK gonna get jumped on once again, pinned into the wall. Keeper's verdict is up. Sertuss not gonna be able to escape for now. Treatz buys some time. Unbreakable Will is up. Dragons descend forward. Neon gets the first, gets the second, gets the tower. Shelly's not done. Charge, charge, charge! And they're gonna keep pushing. pushing. Does Shelly get a third? If Shelly gets a third, no! Taken out this time around by the Ultra Shock Laser. Gen X will throw the Gnar out. I think it was flashed away from. 21-minute inhib secured. This is brutal.
You know, I was being pretty gentle to the players yesterday, Trevor, but I'm gonna be honest now. Whoever thought it was a good idea to lock in Sylas like that should really, you know,
rethink things.
Rethink their priorities a little, because I was confused about it in draft, but the way this is working out,
I mean,
oh boy.
I'm gonna take a look. Just by the way, 204 games on record here for Sertuss. Of the 204 games, 7 of them have been Sylas before today, and only 3 of those were wins, right? Now, the reason I want to paint that really big picture is to blind pick that champion. There is some thought that goes in. Obviously, there was a strategy, there was a goal in mind, but those few small mistakes have compounded. Gilius got caught in the top river, Sertuss and Treatz got caught in the jungle, or in the mid lane. And after those 3 kills, Misfits have taken everything. They've pushed towers, they've secured 2 dragons, they've got both heralds. Like, the pace at which Misfits have accelerated the lead must be commended from just a few mistakes from SK.
Well, again, they literally just brought in Sansara.
Yeah.
The amount of days that these guys have been scrimming together can probably even be counted on one hand. So the fact that they're looking like such a dominant team, not only today, but even yesterday, they were really impressive. And I predicted them to lose both of those games this weekend just because of how much the team synergy means and how, you know, how tricky it is to come in onto a team in the middle of the split. But big props to Sansara and big props to Misfits for quickly finding the recipe to success here.
Can I ask, so yesterday you predicted them to lose to Rogue, which I think was a very fair prediction, okay? When we were in the makeup room getting ready, we were talking to the Misfits coaching staff about Zanzara's interview in Tarek. And after that, the coach stands up and goes, Broxah, I saw your tweets. You predicted us to lose.
Yeah, that was kind of awkward.
It was kind of
lie.
So I have to ask, did you predict Misfits to win or lose today?
I predicted them to lose today. I predicted them to lose both days. But, you know, look at this. Like, I think maybe they should actually thank me. Because I know how this cast the curse stuff works, and I clearly just cursed their opponents, gave them the free wins. I thought coming into the day, SK would be the more dominant early game team. Doesn't look like it right now.
Has been the case, and look at this, 23 minutes after Misfits' infatuation with Baron. They've started it, they've defended it, Gilius is pushed away, Vetheo has got 90% chances. Baron is secured there by Zanzara. Veteo's looking for the second, will not be able to find, he's shut down, taken out, percentage chance down to 80 is what I'll say. Irrelevant stepping forward with the burnout, nod into the wall. Yesterday, Misfits tried time and time again to secure the Baron against Rogue. It did not work out. Today, on the first attempt, very different scenario, very different gold lead. They pick it up and they only lose 1.
That was really impressive by them. Though, Vetheo dying is actually fairly big because with his position, that was a big shutdown over to SK. But here, look at this. Look at Sansara. Knocks the Gilius away. Really great job by Vetheo, by Irrelevant, buying time, making sure that, you know, no one can disrupt the Baron. Gets it for free. Good Vi ult by Gilius onto Vetheo, who's not able to get out. And this is really what SK has to do to win these team fights. This is why you picked Vi, to counter the Akali, to take him down, especially with his build. Because he's got a little bit of a greedy build, skipping the Sonya here.
He has Gilius, not going to be able to get that Dent Break or the Vault Breaker over the wall. Oh man, look, that was great. Zanzara stepped forward, cut off the path with his W, preventing anybody to move. And then as Gilius tried to get out of range, the charge on the Q-tip was so long he wasn't able to get over the wall.
I must say, watching Sansara yesterday and today, why was this guy not in LEC before, Trevor? The way he's playing is so beautiful. I'm really liking his poppy. He's doing such a great job yesterday against Malrangs, today against Gilius. And while, if you look at the split overall, Gilius might not have been the most impressive in the past weeks. It's been amazing. So the fact that Sansara can show up big time against these 2 really strong junglers, it's just beautiful.
It really is. Sertuss is going to steal away Zanzara's ultimate. And I've been a Zanzara enjoyer. I think those words I'll use for a while. I will tell you something. He's phenomenal Poppy thus far. He has surprised both Rogue and SK thus far. We'll be able to do it again. We'll be able to do it on anything else. That's what we'll find out in the coming weeks. Misfits on the verge of a 2-0. on the verge of Goomba stomping SK Gaming. 25 minutes, all 3 inhibitors are under threat. The top will survive for a few seconds longer. I mean, Broxah, this is clinical. We're still in the Baron power play. 30 seconds left. 2 inhibitors down, 9 towers to 1. This has been a very one-sided game, and frankly, a very good-looking couple of games for Misfits as you look ahead to the end of summer, as you look ahead to playoffs.
I'm just standing here thinking how on earth I predicted Misfits to lose this, like what on earth is going on, but here we go, there's a big team fight.
And Gilius is the one that's in trouble. We'll be able to get the cease and desist. Dragon Descent comes forward. That's one for Irrelevant. A bounce back for Jenax. He steps forward, rooted in place, goes golden. While that's happening, Neon is running amok with the help of Vetheo. They manage to push back 2. Sertuss is dead, Jenax to follow. Mersa gets in and breaks the kill streak. 1-0-11, 4-0-8, 7-1-5. It is a stomp in every meaning of the word. Misfits have crushed SK to pick up their 7th win. A couple more hits will take down the Nexus end. This is just flexing on them. Misfits take down SK.
You know, while it didn't work out, I like what SK did there, because they knew if that last inhib dropped, the game would be over. They have to go for it. And the fight, even though they were at such a big disadvantage, actually was like semi-close to working.
I was definitely a little nervous for Misfits on the middle portion with once the CC came down. But ultimately, had they even lost that fight with 3 inhibs down, there would have been so much time to come back. Misfits, 25-minute one-sided victory. I know the analysts will talk about this a little bit more. I just have to ask, as a player, especially a player that has so much experience against G2, that styling on the Nexus, does it make you smile or does it make you sad?
Well, you know, I can respect it. I think at this point they're just like, guys, let's play for the KDA, let's play for the stats, get those last hits, get everything we can. And, you know, at that point with that game, that's something we can respect.
We're getting the players? Yeah, okay, this is quite nice. I don't think this will look good on camera, but yeah, okay, cool. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Awesome. Okay.
There we go.
Oh man, what a great performance there from Misfits. They go 7-6 now. SK on the other hand, 5-8 if I recall correctly from the standings. It just spices things up as we look ahead. We've got 2.5 weeks regular games to go, and top 6 make playoffs. Misfits making another kind of statement, another case for why you should believe in them to be one of those top 6 teams.
Yeah, definitely. Like right now, they are locking themselves in at the 6th placed team for now, and well deserved after this weekend. Very, very nice play from them all around.
Now, I'm going to do key play of the game, yes, because yesterday I made Broxah do them both. You can vote at LEC on Twitter. Zanzara, Vetheo, and Neon. This is another one of those very difficult predictions because, again, every single member of the team played well. I, in particular, love the roams. Yesterday, we saw Mersa moving around a lot, helping out the team. Today, the same thing, and that's what kind of unlocked Vetheo. Yeah,
definitely. I think, you know, Vetheo had an incredible Akali performance. Once he got rolling, once he got the 2 kills, he just styled on his opponents. But of course, shout out to the rest of the team as well for setting him up. And Mersa and Zanzara in particular, they were always there supporting him. And yeah, just great team play.
I'm going to have to ask Zanzara a little later today whether he thinks Vetheo was kill securing or kill stealing. I have one jungler's opinion. I don't know if I trust it, so I'm going to have to ask...
you can ask him about his first kill as well.
Ah, okay, good point. Because then that's actually quite controversial there, because he'll be forced to pick one answer for me and one answer for you in that regard. We're obviously setting up for an interview. We'll go to that in just a moment or two. But I think for SK, frustrating game. I do think they can go back to the drawing board. You see how they played yesterday. Maybe the approach, maybe the draft, maybe the play. Like, you can single out a few specific things, be like, those things, if we changed, the game wouldn't have gone that way.
Yeah, I think this is just one of those games where you look back and you're like, guys, this game was technically lost 8 minutes in.
Yep.
But we can look at what happened to put us at that big disadvantage, how it all went wrong, and we can look at how we play from behind. But other than that, it just went so wrong so quickly, Misfits snowballing so well. At this point, with that disadvantage, it's up to Misfits to throw the game away. And they played so clean, so there wasn't any chance.
Yeah, they did indeed. Now, I'm still waiting for the queue here. I think they are ready. Producers, can you let me know if we could? There may be a camera glitch. We can indeed. All right, so we're going to head onto stage with No Mercy, Mersa.
I just wanted to see you guys just sweat it out there. I want to see this little bromance between Broxah and Quickshot just go on and on. Okay, right, they love each other. We've got Tom Cruise situation over there, which is harking back quite a long time ago. Most of you probably don't remember it. It's absolutely fine. We're going to move into the interview instead. That was kind of my impression of SK into that game, because they kept running into you. They kept trying to snowball you, and yet you pretty much had the advantage the entire time. Were you surprised by their approach to you today?
I mean, I was surprised by their approach, yeah. I mean, even from the draft, like, they let Poppy open, and then they draft a lot of champs with dashes, like Alistar combo, like Zeri, Sylas and stuff. And then in game, I mean, we were pretty confident with our draft, and we were really proactive, so.
You're incredibly proactive, but it was them who kept trying to engage on you. You probably could have closed down the game at 21 minutes, but it seemed like maybe you were taking some tips from SK. Don't try to do things too quickly. What were the comms like in those situations where you kept being gifted the upper hand?
Yeah, I mean, basically, in the backstage, we were watching our game against Jezu last split, where we came back, like, despite being 10k down or something. And the comms were like, guys, don't do what Jezu did last split against us. Let's just base and let's just play disciplined, and we can finish like 2 minutes later. So yeah.
That's a really good point, because from watching the split this season, that's been one of the storylines with you guys. You guys are the team that can come back from 10k gold deficit behind and still take things. But today we're seeing something quite different from Misfits. Yesterday, the same. This was a 2-0 week from you guys, and clearly this is what you needed. How does it feel to know that you were edging closer to playoffs during what must have been an incredibly difficult week?
Yeah, I mean, it feels even better, like, because like obviously Misfits is selling the slot, and it was like a bit hard for the players, like, because like the future is uncertain. But we all agreed on like giving a last fight together as 5, like, for ourselves, like, and yeah, we are pretty happy with the week.
It sounds like you're thinking about yourselves as a team rather than yourselves as individuals. Are you thinking about yourself individually at the moment, Mersa, and what you want to do in the future?
No. Like, I am only like team is above myself, yeah.
Well, you're a support. You're clearly a support deep down at heart as well. I know you've got the support of the crowd here in Berlin. So I'm going to say thank you so much and congratulations for this week. Just 2 more weeks to go, 5 more games, and you need 3 wins to know you're secure in going to Malmo. So good luck. Thank you for talking to me. And we are going to head to a break because we've got so much more action coming your way. So don't go anywhere.
Pause. Dramatic pause.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.